This is Bulldog Country, presented by Minnesota Power and Essentia Health.
What is up? Welcome to Bulldog Country. It's our weekly half-hour installment of news, highlights, and analysis of UMD Bulldogs athletics. Our chance to give you, the fans, a bit better idea what actually goes on with these teams and these players that you see competing for UMD. Coming up in tonight's show, we're going to talk with UMD Athletics Director Josh Burlow, find out what he's been up to through his first full fall season here on campus. Plus, we're talking about a former Bulldog this week. That's Alexandra Vafina. She played 1 year with the women's hockey team. She's now hoping to play in next year's Sochi Winter Olympic Games with Team Russia. But first, we are joined by UMD men's hockey coach Scott Sandlin. Coach, thanks for being here.
Good to be here, Zach.
Tough weekend for you and the boys this past weekend against St. Cloud State. They come up here, get a sweep. Your thoughts coming out of that weekend with the Huskies?
Well, obviously we're disappointed, extremely. I mean, you don't expect to be beat twice at home. Certainly it's a place that we hadn't played for a while, and we need to come out of there with some points, and we didn't do that. I thought our performance Friday was good enough, to beat them, but Saturday was a different story, and the end result was we didn't get the win Friday, even though we probably played well enough to do that, and Saturday we didn't respond to the loss very well, and ended up getting 0 points. So you come out of there, we've got to regroup and hopefully use it as a good learning tool that it doesn't happen again.
Certainly a lot of teachable moments. One of them, you guys have been so good at bouncing back on Saturday night after a Friday night loss this season. It's certainly not going to be automatic in this league against these teams. They have to come up and work on Saturday nights.
Yeah, I think maybe, we talked about that on Monday. I think that was brought up by a couple of our players. Maybe we just expected that it's happened, so it's going to happen again. And the one thing that I said you got to learn is that every night's a different night in college hockey, and you've got to be prepared for every game, for it to be a grind. We've talked about that since day one, especially in this league. And we knew St. Cloud was a better team than they played on Friday, but we had a lot to do with that. And conversely, I thought they had a lot to do with how we played on Saturday, not really letting us get going. Talking
with the boys this week, I mean, you never want to get swept, especially at home, but the boys are taking responsibility for it. They understand what went wrong, and as a coach, you got to like that they are accepting their responsibility and moving forward, trying to fix it.
Well, every weekend's a learning experience, whether you're winning or losing, and obviously you'd rather be winning, but it's certainly not. You don't want to accept losing, but we've talked a lot about the process and how we need to go about playing games, and I thought Friday we did that. I thought probably the 4 games prior to that we were getting closer to playing a more consistent 60 minutes. I thought Friday we did that. Saturday the train came off the tracks, per se, for whatever reason, and we all have to take responsibility, and from me on down, but as a coach we got to figure out why, and we've got to correct it, and we've got to make sure our guys are in the right mindset going into this weekend.
So what do you do in practice this week after a series like that, because you got to get back on the horse against Western Michigan this weekend?
Well, we found some things that some areas that we're going to keep working on. We got to build our guys up again. I mean, it's we can't let one game define our season. It's certainly we were going the right direction. We've had some big wins. We've played some good hockey, so those things happen. And I'm not embarrassed because St. Cloud's a very good team. So it's a good measuring stick on for our guys as to where we need to get to. If they're the #1 team in the country, that those are always good challenges for your team.
We've talked about some of your top players on this show throughout the year, but talk about your depth. I mean, your third and fourth lines have been very consistent for you, it seems, throughout the year. Are you happy with the play of those guys down on the depth chart there?
Yeah, I think if you look at the line of Dukowski, Samper, and Spurl, I think over the last 4 or 5 games, they've probably been our most consistent line, and they've been scoring some goals. They've given us quality minutes. They've been able to play against everybody's whoever they throw out there. I don't look at it as a fourth line on a roster, on a paper. It does, but I think they fit right into a second, third line type role the way they're playing, and I think that's been our strength. Certainly up front, our blue line needs some work. We've been kind of victimized a little bit playing the last 2 teams with the skill and speed, so we've got to make sure that everyone helps out defensively, and overall it's like I said, it's still a growing process. Our team's learning. I really like what's in that room, and certainly we've got to find a way this week to get back on track and have a good weekend here before break.
Talk about your decision to put in Alex Fonz in that Saturday night game. On paper, again, he's the third goaltender, but good to see him get some minutes. Certainly not in the way you wanted him to get minutes, but he's a guy that works hard every day in practice.
Yeah, I mean, it was, it's 5-1. I felt bad for Aaron. I didn't think we gave him a lot of help. I thought we left him hanging a little bit on 2 or 3 of those goals. So I took the time out. I put Alex in. I told our guys to play hard in front of him, and I didn't pull Aaron because of necessarily his play is so much as how we were playing in front of him. So let's give Alex some support and finish the game the right way, and you don't quit till the buzzer. And I thought he went in there, and it's always hard when you're cold, but he had a couple saves and looked pretty calm in the net.
We want to take a look at a bit of tape here. This is Justin Crandall's goal on Friday night. He scored on the power play against the Huskies. Seemed to be lots of movement, some good spacing from the guys. You had to be happy at least with this instance of the power play working for you on Friday night.
Yeah, it's funny because I think that goal, prior to that we had that shift where we were in their zone, and we went through about 2 or 3, 2.5 line changes before they got the puck out. Then we drew the penalty, and it was nice to see Cranny score the goal right away. I thought that was a big lift for us, but unfortunately we gave that back later in the period, and with kind of a fluky goal, and it kind of changed the momentum a little bit of the game.
Perfect, Coach. Thank you very much. We're going to bring you back later to talk about Western Michigan in this weekend. Coach Scott Sandlin, we're going to take a break, after which we will be joined in studio by UMD Athletics Director Josh Burlow, talk about what he's done and what he's still got in store for that Bulldogs athletic department. It's Bulldog Country on the My9 Sports Network. Welcome back to Bulldog Country. Joining us for this segment of the show is UMD Athletics Director Josh Burlow. Josh, thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Zach. Always a pleasure.
You're about 6-7 months into your full-time tenure here with the Bulldogs. It's been a great 6 months, especially that fall sports season. You've had to have a great time kind of getting to know the Bulldogs. Your thoughts about your first half of year here?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I couldn't be proud of our student athletes, our fans, our season ticket holders, the community, and our staff for the success that we've had. Really one of the best falls we've ever had competitively, and that comes on the heels of our best year ever academically. Last year, our student athletes had an average GPA of 3.11, and this year we won the Northern Sun Conference from a competitive standpoint. So couldn't be proud of our student athletes in our department.
And certainly the staff had their work cut out for them. When your fall sports teams do so well, you hosted 3 separate NCAA events, women's soccer, volleyball, and football through the course of about 3 or 4 weeks. So what was that like for your staff? And certainly on our side, they seemed to pull it off without a hitch.
Oh, no, they did great. We really tried to show the teams coming in a great experience. We've been the beneficiary of going on the road and having great hosts as we compete in NCAA championships. And the confluence of hosting this year was impressive. 4 rounds of soccer, 1 round of football, and a couple rounds of volleyball, totaling almost 400 student athletes across 3 championships, 4 different weekends, and a lot of hotel nights and restaurant meals for the Duluth community. So we appreciate the partnership and the support of the institution, the community, as we host those championships. And those are really special events. And the athletic department staff rallied. We had folks doing things that were well outside of their job descriptions because they are team players, and they wanted to put forward a first-class event for the teams participating, but also for the attendees, and that was really fun to watch and fun to be a part of. We'll catch up on some sleep over the holidays.
And the football and the women's soccer was outside. I didn't hear any complaints from the staff when I was there.
No, they were good. They were bundled up. We brought out the hunting clothing a little bit earlier than hunting season to stay warm, so that was a lot of fun.
One of your biggest visible impacts since you've arrived on campus is the use of social media. Not only are you using it to connect with the Duluth community, but you got a lot of your coaches kind of into the fold now on Twitter and Facebook. What's important about that to you to kind of use that as a tool for getting your word out there, getting your message out?
Well, I really view it as it's our job to make it easy for the community to stay plugged in with UMD Athletics. So we need to be present in all of the various channels that you receive information on the Bulldogs. And that means social media, that means texting, that means our website, that means mobile platforms. And social media is something we've made some improvements in. Pretty much all of our programs. Tennis actually launched last week a Twitter account. So we've made a lot of progress there. And we just want it easy for you to stay plugged in so you know what's going on and you can support your favorite student athletes. It's also been a great way for me to connect with students, student athletes, community members, because we're easily accessible by being so present in social media. And we've worked together, and really come up with some best practices, and it's been fun to watch. And I've heard some good feedback, and we've made some mistakes here and there, but it's been fun and it's been beneficial, we think, to our fans.
I've told you since you arrived here in Duluth that I'm not going to compare you to Bob Nielsen, your predecessor here, but whereas through the fall, a lot of times with his dual roles as football coach, he was locked away in the film room preparing for the next game. You've been able to get out in the community. How beneficial is that? Not just for you to kind of get your name and your face out there to people that might not know you, but also kind of represent the school and be at these places that maybe Bob couldn't in the fall season.
Oh, you know, with his coaching responsibilities, particularly in season, then of course with recruiting, he didn't have the hours that I do to really get out and thank the community for their tremendous support of the Bulldog student athletes and to get to know people and really to get feedback, because feedback's important so that we can make good decisions and know what our supporters, our fans, our season ticket holders want to experience when they come to an event. So I've been able to do a lot of public events, rotaries, functions, luncheons, happy hours, and that's been really fun. For me personally, I enjoy getting to know the folks that really make it all happen, because it takes a village to do what we do, and to help these impressive young people achieve academic, athletic success while giving back to the community. So for me to be able to go out and thank those that make it all happen is a special thing, and it's been enjoyable, and I think the community's enjoyed the opportunity to give us some feedback, and it's been easy for them to do so.
It's been easy for us to follow you, too. So thank you very much for all your hard work.
No
we look forward to the next 6 months here and another good winter and spring season for you.
Well, thank you. We plan to keep you busy with all of our success. As always, appreciate the attention.
Thank you very much, Josh. Appreciate it. Josh Burlow, UMD Athletics Director. It's time for another break, but after that, we're talking about the Fighting Penguins. That's a UMD team.
Yes,
I don't know if you knew about them, but we'll explain what they did this past weekend as Bulldog Country on the My9 Sports Network. Welcome back. The UMD Fighting Penguins this past weekend won the Division II National Championship as recognized by USA Rugby. UMD beat Salisbury 31-7 in the title game. That's the same team the Fighting Penguins lost to in last season's Spring National Championship game. UMD captain Blake Martin was named the tournament's most valuable player. Also up on campus, senior Hannah Rutten was named the Northern Sun Conference Player of the Week for the second time this season. She posted 2 double-doubles this past weekend and a pair of wins for the Bulldogs. She now ranks 7th in scoring and 2nd in rebounding across the conference so far this season. Alexandra Vafina will likely be playing for her home country in next year's Winter Olympic Games, but for 2 weeks recently, she was playing with Team Russia in what she calls her home away from home. That's here in the Northland. More tonight on the former Bulldog.
Я хочу выиграть золотой медаль на Олимпиаде в Сочи.
No matter what language it's spoken in, that is the goal this February, a medal at the 2014 Sochi Winter Olympic Games. For former UMD Bulldog Alexandra Vafina, this would be her second time as an Olympian.
I can explain what feeling was that, because it's just very big competition for every player, like every sportsman, every athlete. So
Vafina played just 1 season at UMD. That was as a freshman last winter. But even in that short time, she recognized the differences between hockey back home and here in the States.
yeah, it's different a little bit, because in Russia the level of hockey a little bit lower and the game is different. They're not so fast pace. You can dig a little bit more. You can wait for a good shot or a good pass.
She acclimated quickly, though, finishing her only season as a Bulldog with 4 goals and 6 assists. She also left quite an impression with the UMD coaching staff.
I'll never forget the very first game that she was able to throw the UMD jersey on. She had tears in her eyes, and she said this was a dream come true.
Another dream for Vafina is that Olympic medal, and to make everything better, should Russia win one in the 2014 games, they'll have done so in front of their home fans in Sochi.
Yeah, that's so good, but it's still extra pressure on us that we have to win at home. But I think it will be better for us that our fans, all people will come and cheer for us.
Best of luck to her. We'll continue following her on the road to Sochi. We're going to take our last break. Coming back, we'll have men's hockey coach Scott Sandelin again here with me. We'll chat about his team's upcoming series with Western Michigan. It's Bulldog Country on the My9 Sports Network.
Bulldog Country is sponsored by UMD Stores. Check us out on the UMD campus or online at umdstores.com.
Welcome back. Charlie Samper came onto the UMD men's hockey team last winter as a true freshman. He did have some growing pains, but now he's developed into what can be termed a very reliable sophomore for those Bulldogs. More now on the Hill Murray kid and his path to college hockey.
This UMD player profile is brought to you by Mining Minnesota.
Even growing up in White Bear Lake, close to the University of Minnesota, Charlie Samper always knew he wanted to be a Bulldog.
I've always loved Duluth. I mean, ever since coming here for youth hockey tournaments, it was my favorite town to be in. And
he later combined that love of Duluth with a fast track to UMD, joining the team last season directly out of high school as a true freshman.
Oh, when you look at him, he's 6'1", 200 pounds and can skate. I think physically he was ready for this level. I think the big part of it's mentally. It's a huge step from high school hockey.
Last year, it took a lot of getting used to, and even by the end of the year, I don't think I was fully there. This year, I way more confidence. I feel confident with the puck. I feel confident going to the net. I feel confident with my line mates.
Those line mates this season have largely been Cal Dukowski and Sammy Spurl, creating a trio that UMD has come to rely on so far this winter.
We just kind of look at ourselves as a line that can bring a lot of energy to this team. And, we got some skill too. We've been able to get on the board here and there. And
backdoor goal, Charlie Samper.
He's been a big part of that line. That line's been great for us. I mean, they've given us some great minutes, and they certainly aren't a fourth line. I don't look at them as that. On paper, everyone does, but I think over the last 4 or 5 games, they've probably been our most consistent line.
It is consistency that was worth waiting for both UMD and for Samper.
I probably thought about it every day if I made the right decision, but now that I look back, it's either way, I wanted to play at a good program, and I'm here now, so I just want to make the most of it.
And joining us once more is Samper's head coach, Scott Sandelin. Coach, your team's got Western Michigan this weekend. Headed into the holiday break, how big are these games, knowing it's your last chance before the new year to get some conference points and get things rolling again?
Well, it seems like we say that every week and how big it is. But it's an important weekend for us to get some momentum going into the break. There's no question after last weekend. And more of it, we've got to not worry so much about the end result. We still have to play the game hard. It's a different challenge because they're a different team. We've seen 2 teams that are the top 2 teams in the country and their skill level and how they play. And this team is very, I won't say very different, but they're different in the style that they play. They don't maybe have as much depth skill-wise, but they work extremely hard. They play very well defensively, and they're physical, and it's going to be a much different challenge, so we've got to be prepared for that part of the game.
Friday night, you've talked about your guys, wanting your guys to come out with a bit of an edge after what happened against St. Cloud State here. What do you expect to see from the guys in that first period on Friday night? A lot of energy, I expect.
Yeah, I hope we can just come out and relax and play hard and play the way. Sometimes you can put so much pressure on guys, especially after a weekend like that, and they feel it from everybody, where you just still have to play the game, and you can come out and be very tight and not accomplish anything. So I think it's really important to get, for all the players to get those first couple shifts under their belt and do what we do. I mean, we're a skating team. We need to want the puck. We need to play aggressively, and we need to play at both ends of the rink. So we just need to come out there, and hopefully something good will happen early by doing that, and it'll give our guys certainly a lift going into that whole rest of the game on Friday.
Western Michigan, a team with which you don't have a whole lot of history. Do you prefer that, a little bit of a fresh opponent, or do you like these long-standing rivalries?
It's kind of fun to have some new. We've played them, I think, a few years ago. We had a great series. That was the year we kind of continued that unbeaten streak, and I thought it was a great series to start the second half of the year. Both teams are a little bit different, obviously, but it's nice to play the teams that you're familiar with too. Not a lot of the teams change. So, but hockey is pretty simple. There's not a lot of fancy things. There's some power play things and face-off things and things that teams do maybe a little bit differently. But we know it's going to be a challenge, and they're going to certainly be looking to do the same thing after getting beat twice last weekend at home as well.
We asked fans what they'd like to know about the team as we come closer to the holiday break. One of them asked, what has been the biggest surprise for you from your team this season? What didn't you expect? Has there been anything that kind of has jumped out you through the first half that's been a surprise?
I think the play of a couple of our freshmen, I think certainly, on the blue line, I think Willie Raskob and Carson Soucy, 2 young players. I mean, Willie came right out of Shattuck, and Carson's basically out of his grade 12 year. So they're young players, and to jump in and have some success that early and probably play pretty consistently, has been a little bit of certainly a pleasant surprise, because we needed obviously some guys to jump in there. Kyle Osterberg's play, I think it seems like a long time ago when we recruited him, but he certainly, the way he plays, I think most of the fans really appreciate that, how hard he plays. And just, overall, I'm just, pleased with, and not really surprised, with maybe just our balance, I think, certainly up front. I think that's, we kind of knew that going in, but I think you look at the scoring and you look at lines 1 through 4, I think you see kind of the balance. But we need to get going a little bit more offensively, especially on the power play.
Thank you very much, Coach. Good luck this weekend against Western Michigan.
Thanks, Zach.
Thank you very much. Sticking with hockey, we do have a scheduling change to tell you about. We'll now carry this weekend's Friday night game only. That's tonight's game only for UMD and Western Michigan on the My Nine Sports Network. We did have the Saturday night game only, but a change to the national broadcast has also affected our plans. So tonight at 7 o'clock, we're going to have Bulldogs hockey on My Nine. Before we close out our half hour tonight, we're going to look ahead to next week here in Bulldog Country. Not much to look at, though. The hockey teams are done after this weekend until the new year. Men's and women's basketball each have one more game. That's Saturday the 21st at home against St. Cloud State. So with that, we're going to say goodbye, Bulldogs fans. Remember, you can keep up with any and all UMD news on our website, nncnow.com. We'll be back same time, same place next week. Until then, I'm Zach Schneider. Thanks for watching Bulldog Country on the My Nine Sports Network.